Okay, I'm so excited for this. I just went to the post office and picked up this parcel. It's come all the way from Italy. I bought it on eBay. This is a unicorn deck. I love how they packaged it in a camera thing. I've been wanting this deck, but I never thought I would get it. So I'm super excited. Hang on a minute. Let me just... So, I don't know if you guys have been hearing me or watching me rave on about this deck, but this is the deck of the III Millennium by Lo Scarabeo from Iassen Ghiuselev, and I do have the majors only. And I went on eBay the other day, when I say the other day, about a month ago, and I just by chance, can I find one? And there was one bloke selling one from the UK, which would have been a ridiculous price with shipping, like $160, and I thought, no, I'm not prepared to do that. And then I found this deck here from Italy. Now, it doesn't have its own little box, but that was fine because they were selling at €45, so I was stoked with that. Really, really happy. And I will do a walkthrough later on. Welcome everyone to The Importance of Temperance. I'm Katie, and today I've got a treat for you. Yay! Get excited! Now, as you have seen by my introduction, which I did a couple of days ago when the parcel actually arrived, I have had time to play around with a bit. And I have found this deck to be actually really strange, but actually really clever. And it was a bit, ahead of its time. And interestingly enough, when I went back to have a look at a bit of information about it, some comments on Amazon left by people back in the day, like 2000s, early 2010s, they just didn't get the deck. They were a bit disappointed. It's hard to read. It's hard to understand. It's got all this stuff on it. It doesn't make sense. It's coming from a perspective of now, 2024, where we've been used to technology and everything has like a barcode on it, even us human beings, because we're getting chipped and everything is done online. I think we can get a better appreciation of the intention that the creator had with this deck. As you all know, or for those of you who have watched my channel before, you know that I bought the Iassen Ghiuselev tarot, the majors only. Now, it's a Lo Scarabeo deck, so is this one, and it is an out of print deck, and it is a unicorn deck, let me just say that. This one here I bought off Amazon, and practically it's just the majors, and it's beautiful kind of illustrations, like drawings by Ghiuselev, and it was printed originally, I think Lo Scarabeo did it originally on linen stock, but these are just normal cardstock, and when you have a look at it, you kind of see the linen-y finish on them. But I just fell in love. I think these drawings are stunning. I think they're just line drawings. I think he's used pencil for them, so I love them. And then I did a little bit more of investigation and wanted to understand, what deck it was part of. And then I came across this deck, which is Tarot of the III Millennium, which was printed, I think, 2001, I want to say. And it's hard to find. I've been looking for it. It goes at ridiculous prices. And then a couple of weeks back, I was really lucky to find it on eBay for about €45. And it was from a lady in Naples, Italy. And she didn't have any shipping to Australia. So I reached out to her and I asked her if it would be a possibility if she could ship to me. And, just to use, like normal mail, not go through eBay express posting, because those shipping costs are out of control. They're just nuts. And she said, yep, sure. And then when she added that to her website, the price of the deck increased to €50. And because this deck doesn't come with a box or instruction booklet, it came just wrapped in its cellophane, just like that. I said to her, look, if you give it to me for €40, because I've got shipping and €40, that's going to cost me a fair bit, in Australian dollars. If you put the deck down to €40, I'll get it. So she did it. Practically all up, it was €66. So the deck was €40. The rest was shipping, which translates for me, because you've always got to take into account that the Australian dollar is rubbish compared to all other currencies. So I paid I think it was $114 for the deck and the shipping costs, and say $35 to $40 of that was shipping. So I'm chuffed, really, realistically, that I got this deck. Anywho, I'm just going to quickly read you a blurb about this. Tarot of the Third Millennium, published by Lo Scarabeo about 2000 or 2001 by Iassen Ghiuselev. One of the most unusual decks of all time. Encompassing the past, it reflects on the present and hints at the future. This deck uses different formats to highlight the actual structure of the tarot deck. So the major arcana are black and white. Well, I reckon they're sort of more bluish grey, like, you know, architectural drawings, kind of things like that. And are notched. So they're notched like a subway ticket. So can you see that? The notchings here. And can you see that sort of bluish grey kind of situation? They look like more sort of like a blueprint drawing, right? The minors are illustrations from medieval scenes with a small insert depicting. So that's the insert there. And this depicts a tarot, I must say, so the Tarot of Bologna. And there's also just weird little designs on them, like barcodes, URLs, or web addresses, which are fake, by the way, and circuit-like drawing. So that's kind of like, as you can see here, it looks like a circuit-like drawing. So I feel that these are his drawings. I thought it was kind of like scenes taken from someone else's artwork, but I think he's actually drawn them. And the court cards then are in full color. This is a court card, it's in full color. Still drawing, but like colored in. And it says here, these are in color because they illustrate people. So the court cards are about people, right? And people are nothing if not colorful. And I found that really super interesting. Now, when you take them separately, sorry, these are my little notes over there. When you take this deck separately and you go through it separately, it doesn't kind of make sense. It's a bit weird, but this deck is actually designed to be put together like a puzzle. So you see the bigger picture. So for instance, the four aces depict a scene. The suit of cups depicts a scene. And so you put the cards together. They don't fit perfectly like puzzle pieces do together, but you know, you put them together and you get a bigger picture of what he's actually representing in the suit of cups, in the suit of swords, in the suit of coins. Now also he has based this on the more traditional meanings. So the four suits are broken down traditionally in medieval kind of societal hierarchy. So there was the nobility and the army, which is represented by the swords. There was the clergy, and the institution of the church was represented by the cups. And then we have the coins, which represented the merchant class, so anything trade and worldly matters. And then you have lastly the clubs, which represented, you know, the peasant class or the lower classes, you know, those that did all the manual labor. So when I put the scenes together, the cups depicted that scene, the coins depicted that scene, and the wands depicted another scene. So it was really interesting and it sort of made sense. And even though you might look at these cards and think they're a bit gruesome, when you put them together, and I will show you, they make sense. And then you come to the court cards, and separately the court cards don't make sense, but then they're part of a bigger tableau. So when you put all the court cards together, they form this scene. And they depict colourful human beings, you know, being weird as they are. And sort of there's this juxtaposition of old and new. And the interesting thing is that this deck wants to play around with the fact that things have changed, but really haven't changed that much, to be honest. You know, those scenes depicted are a bit gruesome. But if we look at ourselves today, we are still a bit gruesome. We still hurt each other. We still kill each other. We still go to war. We still, you know, are materialistic. So even though we think that we're different from medieval times where people used to enjoy a spectacle when they used to go and watch a hanging, we're not any different today when we crucify people online without even knowing what the story is all about, you know. So very interesting deck. All right, so let me shut up. I'll bring the camera down so we can do a walkthrough, and then I will show you different scenes with the cards. All right. So as I said, this deck did not come with its box, and I don't think it actually came with its own guidebook originally. So it did come wrapped in its own cellophane, and it did smell faintly musty, so I know the deck is original. It also comes with this title card, and it also has this card as well. Now these are the backs, which depicts the Fool with some, you know, electrical schemes or circuit boards or chip kind of situations there. And so these are the title cards, and the stock is actually feels very plasticky, you know, like that sort of stock that's covered. And I think they've done it like on purpose to, you know, give you that feel of modern. So that's those. Now I'm going to start off with our majors, which are based on the Marseille, I feel. Beautiful line drawings, as you can see. They have, you know, the notches on them, and they have the names down the bottom, which I don't mind because they're kind of hidden. I mean, hidden. You can see them, but they're not in your face like all over the card like Lo Scarabeo used to do. Love this Empress. So these are just beautiful drawings. I think they're pencil drawings, line work. Now, I've searched the internet high and low, especially YouTube, to see a proper walkthrough of this deck. I haven't come across maybe a couple of videos. So no one is really familiar with this deck. I don't think it was very popular back in the day because maybe they just didn't like, you know, the fact that it was different. The majors are different from the minors, and then you've got the court cards, which are different again. Maybe people didn't get it. I don't know, but based on the comments that I saw, even on eBay, you can't find this deck. So there's not a lot out there, if you know what I mean. So that's the Ace of Cups. Now I'm going to put it aside because, as you can see, if I turn it, there's this figure here on the ground and there's broken vessels. All right. So if I put that aside, it forms part of a little vignette. And the interesting thing is that, you know, see the barcodes here, the schematic here, and then this is really interesting. So because obviously it's hard to pick up on what's going on and get a read on that, I think the insert of these Tarot de Marseille cards are a way of helping us to read the cards. These cards depict a scene, a bit of a religious scene, and cups being related to the church, the clergy, that kind of thing. It just feels the washing of the hands, the person laid out. There's kind of like a more spiritual scene, sort of a more religious scene. That's what I'm trying to say. And again, here we have web addresses, but they're not real. It just says, you know, naveofchalices.com. So it's just fake, right? And this same, which says Knight of Chalices. And you've got these little creatures, but when I show you, it will make better sense. That's the Queen, and that's our King of Cups. Okay, so this is the Ace. Again, see how this is a scene. So if I put them together like that, you're getting an idea. So in this, we have the broken vessels, the bottles, the cups, chalices there. In this, we have worldly things. So, you know, like the books, spices, learning, maybe some things, you know, log books for trade, writing up your sums in there, right? And then here we have, again, a scene of all these people standing around and watching someone who's about to be burned at the stake. This is the guard underneath. So if I kind of put that together like this, you get the idea, right, of little scenery being formed and people watching. And then here we have the Page of Cups, the Queen, someone's pilfering her purse, We have the guy counting his coins in his little counting house. And then again, here we go. This is the wands. And here we've got third part of the puzzle. Right? And in this, we've got a bit of sceneries of, I think it's like a celebration. You know, it must be a feast day. They're bringing sacrificial lambs to, if it's the Lord or something like that. We've got dancing on the table. We've got people sawing a log here. Here's the nobleman, the master, the lord of the manor, I don't know. And there's all these sort of people walking around, coming to have a look at what's going on. They're drinking. There's sort of like scenes of debauchery. And then we have the mages. Again, you know, just this says pageofwands.com. This is the Queen of Wands, the Knight of Wands. Yes, it doesn't quite make sense, but if you put it in the bigger picture, it will make sense, and I'll show you. And this is the Ace of Swords, and I'll show you how that all works together as a little vignette. So, he's lying on the floor, deaded, and he's got the vessels, the worldly things, and the globe here, and the swords because he's probably been stabbed. And on these you can see these kind of circuitry boards and these weird kind of depictions. Classic, huh? These are the scenes of a battle. So, you know, the swords, nobles going to war against the peasants here. You can see them all armed to their teeth, and these guys have just got pitchforks and rocks to throw at them. And here is the Lord telling them to go ahead and kill him. Go get him! And here are the courts. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take all the court cards. I'm going to put them together for you. And then I'll show you a scene of the pips. Alright? So, in this top scene, you've got the Magus here on his table, and he's got all the onlookers here. A bit of debauchery going on here. The Joker is climbing up the tree. You've got this lady watching the trickster. They're all kind of watching the trickster do his tricks. And then you've got your man up there in his counting house. So that's one scene. And then we've got this other scene. Comes together with the queen and the little creature here looking at its bum. So if we take those aside, then we can see the scene underneath is one of, I don't know who that is, if he's the king or the pope or something, but he's witnessing this scene underneath of judging. See how this man is dressed in a suit and he's got like a mask on his face, and we've got the judge judging him. And then we've got a lady supplicating the samurai up the top. And the samurai is looking on here. This guy is about to be hung. And then there's kind of this body lying across here. And this guy's pointing his sword towards here. So I don't know if this is a judgment scene of the new millennium we're coming into. And, you know, we've got this character here pouring some wine. We've got this bishop here with these really weird Bosch-like figures and drawings. Like he's got this creature coming out of his mouth. I guess he goes here because I can sort of see this robe. So you know what I mean? So this is kind of like the vignette. You put these cards together and you get an idea of this scene. So it's depicting the judging of the new, but look what we used to do in the old times. And so now you see the bigger picture here. People are playing music, relaxing, drinking, watching this woman offering sacrifices, coming to the feast of the nobleman up the top. She's dancing on the table. I don't know what he's doing. He's in this box. It looks like he's rowing. So they're all kind of observing this scene. So it sort of comes together, if that makes sense. And this is the suit of wands. Alright guys, thank you so much for bearing with. If you've watched till the end, it was a bit choppy and changey, but I was just trying to give you the overall kind of idea behind the deck. It's a puzzle, it's to see the bigger picture, it's making a bit of fun of the new century. It's making us question ourselves if really we have changed that much. And this is the scene of the aces. Now I did not do a card comparison, so the cards are a little bit thinner than a US game standard tarot card, but they are the same length. Alright, so that was a presentation, a walkthrough, a play with my unicorn deck. I have a few other unicorn decks, but for now I'm really pleased that I was able to get this. So it is my first unicorn deck, so to speak, and I love it. I think it's great. I'm super pleased that I did invest in something like this because it's unique, it's fun, it's different, and I like those kind of things. I like the pleasure it brings me. I like its weirdness, but I like its cleverness. So let me know in the comments section below what you think. Did you think this deck was weird until I walked you through it and showed you the bigger picture? Alright, thanks so much for hanging out with me, for liking, for subscribing. I will see you all in my next one. Ciao, Bendy!